What if the signs of dementia started showing up 10 years before any memory problems began, and you had no idea? What if right now, today, your brain was already sending you warning signals, and you were writing them off as stress, aging, or just being tired? Here's what most people never find out until it is too late. Dementia does not start with forgetting names or losing your keys. It starts silently, quietly, in ways that have nothing to do with memory at all. Today, I'm going to show you 7 of these silent early signs. Signs that researchers have now confirmed can appear up to a decade before serious cognitive decline begins. Watch all the way through, because sign number 4 is the one most people are completely blind to, and it might be the most important one of all. Sign number 1 has nothing to do with memory, and that is exactly what makes it so easy to miss. A gradual loss of smell. You might notice that your morning coffee does not smell as strong as it used to, or that flowers seem to have lost their scent. Maybe food just does not taste the same anymore, and you have been blaming it on getting older. But here is what science has discovered. The olfactory nerve, the nerve that controls your sense of smell, is one of the first parts of the nervous system to be affected when dementia begins developing in the brain. A landmark study from the University of Chicago followed over 3,000 adults aged 57 to 85 and found that those who had difficulty identifying common smells were 5 times more likely to develop dementia within 5 years. 5 times more likely. From something as simple as not being able to smell coffee. This sign appears on average 2 to 7 years before any memory symptoms begin, which means if you or someone you love has noticed a fading sense of smell, your brain may already be asking for help. Do not ignore this. It is one of the earliest biological signals your body can give you. Sign number 2 is one of the most misunderstood early warning signs, because most people, and even many doctors, mistake it for something else entirely: increased anxiety or a sudden onset of depression. Now, anxiety and depression are common on their own. But here is the critical difference. When these feelings appear suddenly in someone over 50 who has not previously struggled with them, with no clear life event causing them, that pattern is a recognized early warning sign of cognitive decline. Why does this happen? Because dementia affects the brain's frontal lobe and limbic system, the very areas responsible for regulating emotions. As those areas begin to change, the brain's ability to manage fear, worry, and mood starts to break down, often years before any memory problems appear. A major study published in the journal Neurology found that people who developed depression after the age of 50, with no prior history of it, had a significantly higher risk of developing Alzheimer's disease later in life. So if you or someone you love has suddenly become more anxious, more fearful, or more withdrawn without any clear reason, please take it seriously. This may not just be a mood change. It may be the brain sending an early distress signal. Sign number 3 is very specific, and it is completely different from normal forgetfulness, which many people confuse it with. Normal forgetfulness is forgetting where you put your phone. Early dementia is forgetting how to use your phone, even though you have used it every day for years. People in the earliest stages of dementia begin struggling with tasks they have done automatically hundreds or thousands of times before. A woman who has cooked the same recipe for 30 years suddenly cannot follow the steps. A man who has driven the same route to work for 20 years suddenly gets confused mid-journey. This is not about learning something new. This is about losing access to deeply encoded automatic knowledge, and that is a very different and much more serious thing. The brain stores long-term procedural memories in specific regions. When those regions begin to be affected by early dementia, these once automatic tasks start requiring conscious effort and eventually become impossible to complete. Pay close attention here. If someone is struggling with tasks they have always done effortlessly, that is a sign worth taking to a doctor immediately. The earlier it is caught, the more options there are to slow it down. Now we reach sign number 4, the one I mentioned at the beginning that most people are completely unaware of. Vision problems that have nothing to do with your eyes. This surprises almost everyone. Most people assume vision problems come from eye conditions like cataracts or glaucoma. And sometimes they do. But there is a specific type of visual difficulty that is caused by the brain, not the eyes. and it is one of the earliest detectable signs of certain types of dementia. These brain-based vision problems include difficulty judging distances, misjudging steps, bumping into furniture, or struggling to park a car even though nothing has changed about their driving ability. Difficulty reading, even with correct glasses. Trouble recognizing faces of people they know well. Problems tracking moving objects, colors appearing washed out or less vivid. All of these can be caused by changes happening in the visual processing centers of the brain, not the eyes themselves. In fact, this type of vision change is one of the primary early markers of posterior cortical atrophy, a variant of Alzheimer's disease. If someone has had a full eye exam and their eyes check out fine, but they are still struggling to see clearly, the brain needs to be evaluated next. Sign number 5 is one that can have serious real-world consequences, and it often goes unnoticed for years because people around the person make excuses for it. Sudden poor judgment and unusual decision-making. This does not mean making one bad decision. It means a pattern of decisions that are out of character, decisions that the person would never have made before. Giving large sums of money to strangers or to scam calls. Neglecting personal hygiene for the first time in their life. Wearing completely inappropriate clothing for the weather. Making impulsive financial decisions with no thought for consequences. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for reasoning, planning, and judgment, is one of the early targets of dementia-related changes. When this area begins to deteriorate, a person's ability to evaluate risk, make sound choices, and think logically about consequences begins to break down. Sadly, this is also why seniors with early dementia are the primary targets of financial scams. Their judgment is impaired before anyone around them realizes something is wrong. If someone who is always careful with money is suddenly making unusual financial decisions, take that seriously. Sign number 6 is one that family members often notice before anyone else, and it can be one of the most emotionally difficult to deal with. Repeating the same questions, stories, or statements, sometimes within minutes of having just said them. Now, everyone repeats themselves occasionally. But in early dementia, this repetition happens in a very specific way. The person has no recollection that they just asked the question or told the story moments ago. They are not being forgetful. The memory of asking the question simply was never formed in the first place. This happens because the hippocampus, the brain's memory recording center, is one of the first structures damaged by Alzheimer's disease. When the hippocampus is not functioning properly, new short-term memories cannot be encoded. So a conversation that happened 5 minutes ago is completely gone, as if it never occurred. The person then asks the same question again, completely genuinely, because for them, they are asking it for the first time. If you have noticed someone asking you the same question multiple times in a single conversation, or repeating the same story to you within the same hour, this is not just them being absent-minded. This deserves professional attention. Sign number 7 is perhaps one of the most frightening early signs, both for the person experiencing it and for those who love them. Getting disoriented or lost in places that should be completely familiar. Not getting lost in a new city. Getting lost on the way home from the grocery store they have shopped at every week for 15 years. Becoming confused about which floor of their own home they are on. Walking to a neighbor's house and suddenly not knowing where they are or how to get back. This happens because dementia affects the brain's spatial navigation system, specifically a region called the entorhinal cortex, which works alongside the hippocampus to help us understand where we are in space and how to navigate from one place to another. Research from University College London has actually shown that changes in spatial navigation ability can be detected years before a dementia diagnosis, making this one of the most powerful early indicators we have. If someone has become confused about directions or locations that should be automatic to them, this is not normal aging. This is the brain's navigation system beginning to fail, and it is a sign that should not wait. So those are the 7 silent signs of dementia that can appear years, sometimes a full decade, before any memory problems begin. Let me quickly recap them for you. Number 1, a gradual loss of smell. Number 2, new anxiety or depression after 50 with no clear cause. Number 3, struggling with familiar tasks that used to be automatic. Number 4, vision problems that eye exams cannot explain. Number 5, unusual poor judgment and out-of-character decisions. Number 6, repeating the same questions or stories within minutes. Number 7, getting disoriented or lost in familiar places. Now, here's the most important thing I want you to take away from today. Recognizing these signs early is not a reason to panic. It is a reason to act. Because here is what science has confirmed. The brain has remarkable ability to adapt, repair, and protect itself when given the right support. Diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, and mental stimulation have all been proven to slow cognitive decline, and in some cases even reverse early damage. In our next video, we are going to talk about the 7 foods that scientists have found to be the most powerful protectors of the aging brain. Foods that can reduce your dementia risk by up to 53% when eaten regularly. If you do not want to miss that, subscribe to this channel right now and tap the notification bell. Every week we bring you the most important science-backed information to help you keep your mind sharp, your memory strong, and your brain healthy for the rest of your life. Thank you for watching. Share this video with someone you love, because the earlier these signs are recognized, the more time there is to do something about it. Your brain is worth protecting, and it starts right now.